Coach, I'm just wondering for you personally, what was it like not being on the sideline for those 3 games, and also what did you guys improve on in the run game against Cal versus the first 2 games of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult just because you want to be a part of it and be able to assist and help as much as in any aspect that you can. So I would say difficult in that aspect, especially when things are not going the way you plan. And I've been on that sideline when things were going good. I've been on that sideline when things wasn't going very good. And you always want support in those kind of struggling times. And I just thought the backs did a good job of seeing it. Getting those extra yards. We talked about yards at the contact. If you want to be great, you got to do a better job of maintaining and sustaining blocks. And also just coordinating the run. We got to make sure we put them in the best position as we can, because we do get people know we want to run the ball, we want to establish the run, so you got to make sure that the looks are matching up to what you want it to be.
Ira?
I'm sure having Darius back helped, and then Jalen, Coach Norvell talked about Jalen feeling more comfortable with second start. Last week was kind of thrown out at the last minute. But it seemed like across the board there was more physicality. Is that accurate, or did they just operate better?
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 of them out there, so a lot of times that group gets defined as a group, which they should because of the O-line. But I thought we've had some guys that play physical and some guys that need to get better in the physicality. I thought having what happened with Jalen was a prime example of you never know when your opportunity comes. Opportunity never. Coach Tito always tells me, Coach, opportunity doesn't come and give you an introduction like, hey, I'm opportunity. I'm here to give you what you're looking for. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. So what you've done to prepare in that moment is going to show. So I think as a young guy that hadn't repped too much, it was too tail of 2 weeks of and warm-ups, not knowing you're going to go to after warm-ups to now you had a week to prepare because you knew you were going to go. And that does wonders for those young O-linemen, especially in understanding how important their role is. Young O-linemen, they just want to play. And then once they play, they realize that comes with a heavy responsibility, not only just the results of the game, but the health of the people behind you. So I think he took that serious, and his preparation is serious, so he saw the results. So hopefully he continues to do that. But he's on that track. He's right at where his body and how he plays should be able to go out there and perform. I learned some hard lessons in playing young O-linemen early, or too early, and I had some bodies beat up, from surgeries to things of that nature. But he was able to develop his body and go out there and showcase himself, which he's going to keep going.
Brendan?
What are things through 4 games you've seen from DJ that you can build on positively, and what are things that he just needs to get better at moving forward?
Yeah, he needs to stop stressing. I think sometimes he takes it. He's been through it, but he also, he takes full ownership and responsibility. And sometimes you try to force those big plays and force those moments. I thought we did a good job converting some 3rd downs, which was positive, another positive step forward. But just take what they give you, and also understand that everything has a reason and a setup for something else. But you don't have to force the issue. Just kind of let it come to you and let the defense, let us dictate what we want it to be. So I think he's finding more comfortable. Our job is to keep him inspired and keep him positive. I think he's finding more comfort level with that, but also the understanding that, man, it'll come. It'll come. So I saw that settle down with the play he made to Jakai. We missed a couple opportunities in there to kind of open that thing up, but he just got to let it come to you and not just try to force that thing.
Ira?
Obviously, the total points are what you're looking for, but there were a lot of positives. It looked like from play to play. How much does it, in terms of watching the film with those guys, the whole offense, just seeing successful plays, coming after a win, just like in terms of just the mindset as they go on to another week?
Yeah, the difficulty on offense is that, sometimes it's not repetitive, where you say like everything goes in general broad deals. It's blocking, but it could just be this individual that's blocking that has done it before and showcased it, but didn't do it on that play, or drops. Like, oh man, there's been different people, at different times who's actually made some big plays at certain other times. Or it could be, hey, they're not, the throw, this, whenever it's multiple things in a broad view, our job is to inspire, to show that they can because they've done it before, but also try to avoid the big mistakes, like all right, we can't have that, and make sure we got the right personnel out there. But overall, I've been seeing the positive strides of us not only preparing them to what they can do in the game plan and preparation, but also them having the confidence to go out there and do it. When I look out there on the field, there's a lot of guys that they didn't have the responsibility of wins and losses on them ever before in their career. Like there's a lot of guys out there that played on good football teams that they never had to bear their responsibility. Like, oh, if I don't make this play, this could be detrimental. So now I think they're settling down. Like, no, you have to. This has to be done. It's not like, there's nobody coming behind you to save you. You know what I mean? So now I think that responsibility and ownership is showing up in preparation, which is growing the offense.
Jordan?
Coach Norvell mentioned earlier that you guys can be out without Roydell for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
What challenges is that presenting the offense, but also how excited are you to see the young guys, Cam Davis, get more opportunities?
Yeah, Roydell was a tough runner, and I was interested to see as the season progressed how he would grow and the understanding of what we're trying to do. But when he does come back, I think sometimes that adversity gives you a little bit of humility and understanding, and then sometimes watching practice from outside in, you kind of get a little bit more. Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. But I mean, I love how LT stepped up big for us and taking the load. I think he took the most carries of a back this season, and Cam showing he can go in there and showcase his abilities as well. And I can't wait to get him some more, because I think when we get to see his speed and power on display consistently, it's going to help the offense. And you still got like Sam got in there, and mix it up a little bit, and Kazai's always ready to go. So I think that room overall, those young guys growing up and finding that comfort level of not just wanting to play, but actually playing responsible and taking the preparation into it is going to be big for us.
Ira?
Some of the young guys are starting to, take advantage of opportunities. Jalen Brown seems like he's stepping up, and you guys have a lot of young skill guys that are super talented. Like how do you guys, I guess, handle the urge to want to get them on the field, because they look like they could maybe make some big plays, also balancing, maybe they don't know everything they need to do. How challenging?
I mean, I want every skilled player in there to want the ball and want to play. I mean, that's the. I don't want them to say I don't want to play. So I want them to press and really show. But also now that they have the desire, I have to teach them the process of how. This is how preparation looks. This is how you got to take care of your body. This is how you got to show responsibility even outside of the field. It doesn't just start there. It starts in how are you when the lists come out, the academic list. Are you on point? Are you take care of all the other stuff to show that you're ready for that responsibility to go out there and have that. And Jalen Brown is another guy I mentioned that might not have had games where I want to play, but I haven't had to make a third down contested catch for us to move the chains in a big game. These are all learning things for him as well too. So I love the progression. We come out here on Sunday nights and all those guys, that's like game 2 for us, because all the guys that don't play 20% of the game, they go out there and we practice and we run a big script, and we get to kind of go out there and coach those guys like that's their game on Sunday. And all those guys have been showing up in situations that they know, but just being able to react to the flashes of the game that we might not have showed them or prepared for, they got to start having that understanding of what that is for that trust. And I do believe you will see more of those guys as we're pushing forward, because I'm starting to see those eyes change and those pushing in those practices. So, and even look on the sideline, for me being on the sideline for the first time, seeing those guys hungry and listening to them when things are happening and coaching each other, it gives you a little bit more trust with those guys as they're going forward. And they understand exactly what they got to do. You can't just go out there and say, hey, you're going to play when you're ready. No, man, coach, what do you need to see? We tell them what we need to see. If they showcase that, then they'll go play.
Sure.
Coach, Cal was the 3rd game in a row. You guys did not pick up a first down on the opening possession of the game for the offense.
Yeah.
What do you guys need to do to get better at that phase of the game?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to overall execution, and that's a coach term, but that's just reality, because when we come back and we discuss it with the players, they say, oh man, I saw this, that, you know what I mean? So I thought the second play kind of put us in a little bit of jam, because we, the tight end flat there deal with the end read, got into a little danger there. But other than that, I think that, that's the main thing of it, is making sure that our opening scripts match the things that they're comfortable with, and we can kind of give them a little bit of success of what we've seen from defense. But the defense coordinators, they know too, so they understand how to change the look up, and we got to be able to react when it's not exactly what we thought it was. And that goes from us making sure we give them the reaction to the things that can show up, but also the players' reaction in real time.
Corey?
The hold that was called on Ferguson. My uneducated eye, I know he threw him to the ground, but
Yeah.
it kind of looked like he just blocked him to the ground. What did he do? What's the teaching moment there to tell him not to do better? And then also with Jalen Early, I think there was a play where he had a really nice block and kind of did a little bit of a flex. Like he felt himself a little bit in a good way. Is that something you like to see out of an offensive lineman, to have that kind of, personality or belief in himself, to be fired up after a block like that?
Yeah, two part of it. The first thing is, first was a holding because he stopped his feet on contact. You know, I thought he had a good block on the guy and he was trying to be aggressive with his upper body. But anytime you stop your feet during post contact, there's always a chance you can get a hold with any upper body inflection. Because it doesn't matter if it was a hold, if it presents or looks like a hold, they'll call it. So the easiest way to thing is always try to keep your hands tight and keep your feet post contact active as possible. Then you'll kind of avoid some of those things. So that was the correction for him. For Jalen, I think it's more self-belief that you can. We all, you know, all of us are pretty high in our professions, but at one point, you know, you got that moment of like, I can do this, like, you know, and it builds that self-confidence. So I like to see him out there going and celebrating when he can and still keeping his mind in the game, but it's like, I can do this, you know what I mean? And now that builds from there. So, I mean, that was awesome to see a young guy go out there and you know, now he's earned his reps to try to kind of go in there and start the competition going, which always elevates everybody when you have that, especially at that position. And also, Jalen is like you know, watching him practice, he ain't the biggest guy, but man, if you go out to practice, he's been blocking for a while. I mean, he's a good player. So I'm excited to see him excel and keep continuing doing. He's also multiple. He's played, you know, guard and tackle for us. So I'm excited to see his growth and how much he keeps going for us because we sure need him.
Ira?
And not your position or even your side of the ball, but it's one team. But what the defensive line did in this past game and the way they've started to play the last couple weeks, Josh, Peyton, and those guys, what can that maybe do for the offense and the whole team overall?
I think it goes back to the statement I said about guys who played a lot of football, but the ownership of, I have to make that play. There's nobody else coming. I can't, where my responsibility, because every part of the game is not the same. There's critical parts of the game. There's situations of third down, last drive, like, and your light bulb kind of goes on like, oh, I'm the one that got to do this. This is me. And we got a lot of guys, good players and talented. I don't know how many times they've been in those kind of situations. So as those situations are coming up in the game, you're starting to see improvement from that, whether it be offense, defense, special teams. Of oh, it's me. I'm going to go win the game. I'm going to go make the stop. I'm going to go make the catch. I'm going to make the block. So it becomes that personal accountability and ownership of, okay, now I understand that role of not just playing of personal gain and things of that nature to, no, I'm responsible for the outcome of the game. And you watch those guys' preparation and how they prepare and said, okay, it's not just practice. When we practice in third down, okay, this on me. You know what I mean? I was talking to Jordan on the sideline, and I remember, you know, when he was here, he talked about that moment in NC State when we lost. He learned more in that game than anything because he said, oh, I had to make the play. You know, because we threw the interception. He was like, oh, I got it. Then from now, he made a tremendous run of just understanding. And if you go back to those interviews, Coach talked about how he started to prepare and what changed and what clicked for him to understand, like, oh, I got to be on point, or this could be detrimental. So I think as our guys' preparation is starting to go to that of the ownership, we're starting to see that progression that we need to see throughout the process.
Anything else for Alex? Aslan?
4 games now with you guys coordinating DJ as a quarterback. Is he figuring out things that you guys want out of him, or is it more important now for you guys 4 games to have learned what he's comfortable doing and cater things around that and, I guess, teach and coach him up in a way that he feels more comfortable with things?
Right, that balance of what we're comfortable with versus what the defense presents that we can take advantage of. And our job is, because, you know, they got class and things that are going on. We're up here all day, every day, so we know we can kind of see what the defense is going to present to us. Then we have to find that formula that they've done that kind of still fit what we can utilize against the defense. So we got to find that balance. We have to make sure we're doing a better job of that, because, you know, as coaches, something we get excited and maybe they hadn't done that before, you know what I mean, and things of that nature. So yes, we have to make sure we're comfortable in showing the strengths of what we do, not to always be reaction, but to dictate the things we do well and make them stop the things we do well, but also be able to react differently when they're presenting something maybe we haven't done, but we can take advantage of. So there is a fine balance of that, and we got to make sure we're finding it pretty quickly.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thanks.